A reading from the prophecy of Micah. You, O Bethlehem Ephtrath, are only a small village among all people of Judah, yet a ruler of Israel, whose origins are from a distance past, will come from you on my behalf. The people of Israel will be abandoned to their enemies until the woman in labor gives birth. Then at last his fellow countrymen will return from exile to their own land, and he will stand to lead his flock with the Lord's strength, in majesty of the name of the Lord his God. Then his people will live undisturbed, for he will be highly honored around the world, and he will be the source of their peace. Towns like Scappoose, Oregon, Wallagrass, Maine, Americus, Kansas, and the quiet sides and streets and living rooms of a million small and unlikely places. Yes, the kingdom comes to places like you. You there with your lights strung up and down like sequins that have seen better days. With your ragmuffin kids and paint-chipped Christmas ornaments that date back to 1982. And your scarlet poinsettias on the front window in the fading light of the front room. There's a winter wonderland set up on somebody's mantle. They'll get carolers coming from around the neighborhood and to the nursing homes on Friday to sing, "Hark, the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King." Everyone will smile and be grateful. No one will care if the singers are off key, because there is a king in Bethlehem, in backwater little Bethlehem, an unmarried, hardly woman yet in labor, giving birth to your king. And he will be your newborn and ancient and coming and future king, newly birthed, whose going forth have been foretold from old, from ancient of days. A king like infinitely greater than even King Arthur, on whose tomb it was inscribed, "Here lies Arthur, king once and king in the future." Forsake the fairy tales for the story that is really history. This Bethlehem king is the true and real one and still coming king. The king of humanity's memory, the king from the beginning, back when we were young and the world was an Eden and the wonderland was us. There's your winter wonderland set up on a cosmic stage. The sun is sent through the fallen kingdom back door. The king is born into a barn to wrest the forces from the pit, slay the demons, crush the head of the evil one, and woe the world back to life. The war is bloody. It is heinously dark. And on Calvary, evil corners the sun. Iron spikes the king to a tree and laughs, haunting triumph only to have light shattered the dark, and the king fling off the rotting grave clothes and yes, rise again. Author J.R.R. Tolkien called this moment when the light of deliverance throws back the darkness the eucatastrophe. That is the moment when evil is dashed and righteousness suddenly, spectacularly rises. He wrote, "The birth of Christ is the eucatastrophe of man's history. The birth of the King is the light in your story, in history that slashes back the smothering dark. The birth of Christ is for the band of survivors, the saved hushed there in the manger of Bethlehem, the moment of eucatastrophe, of joy that catch the breath a beating lifting the heart. In that eucatastrophe instant under the Bethlehem star, when humanity witnessed the King God inhale air into his lungs. You can feel it. Joy, behold the walls of the world, because the King beyond this world has entered this world. And the wonderland in him we always hope for is here and now and true. The unexpected Bethlehem King is the once and coming King, the King of the first and still coming second advent, the King coming again to rule the earth and make all sad things untrue. The wonderland is unfolding even now. Kingdom coming because of his word will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. You will go out in joy and be let forth in peace. The mountains and the hills will burst into song before you, and the trees of the field will clap their hands. Can you just see the dance of the sugar plum fairies just wither a bit? The very trees of the field are going to dance and clap their hands. It's the King that is coming, and a new kingdom is stirring. And stirring is in you. Look, when the King rules the world, you cease to rule yourself or worry, because all worry dethrones God, and all worrying makes your King and God incompetent. There is a King born in Bethlehem and on the throne. You can just breathe. There are Christmas trees blinking in living rooms tonight in towns like Americus, Kansas, Quinton, Arkansas, and Mud Lake, Idaho. Someone is playing on the piano that needs to be tuned. Glory to the newborn King. It's in small towns, in even the little town of Bethlehem, the lights on the trees dance. For the coming King, the trees of the field will all dance. Look for someone today who's doing some little good thing that is likely to go unnoticed. Slip that person a happy note to say he or she is making a difference. Encourage them. It was not suddenly and unannounced that Jesus came into the world. He came into the world that had been prepared for him. Look, the whole Old Testament is the story of a special preparation. Only when all was ready, only in the fullness of his time, did Jesus come. When have you felt like that little town of Bethlehem, unnoticed, poor, small, forgotten? What worries do you need to surrender to God, knowing he is firmly on the throne? Take a moment and thank God for the eucatastrophe of Christmas, for conquering evil and righteousness.